They were the faces that made Storage Wars more than just a show about lockers. We laughed with them, rooted for them, and sometimes even disagreed about them while watching from our couches. However, behind the jokes and the exciting bids, some of these popular cast members faced struggles that the cameras didn't show. For 10 of them, these struggles ended in heartbreak. This story is not just about who they were on TV. It is about the real people we lost. Some left us too soon, some in surprising ways, but they all have stories worth sharing one last time. Since its airing in 2010, Storage Wars has become a hit, turning everyday treasure hunters into well-known figures. But fame did not protect them from life's tough challenges. Over the years, the Storage Wars family experienced tragedy. Today, we remember the lives and legacies of 10 members no longer with us. We will look beyond the headlines, explore the struggles they faced, celebrate the joy they brought to fans, and reflect on the lessons they left behind. 1. Mark Balelo, the tragic auction king. Mark Balelo, known as Rico Suave by fans for his flashy style and lively personality, was a standout figure on Storage Wars. He was famous for his colorful suits and expensive shoes, and he had a talent for turning old lockers into profits. Mark added an exciting energy to the show. However, his life off camera was tough. Behind his confident smile, he faced severe legal and personal problems. Friends noted that he seemed worn out in his last weeks, struggling to balance work, fame, and personal issues. In February 2013, the shocking news emerged. Mark was found dead, and the cause was ruled a suicide. He was only 40 years old. Fans were shocked, and fellow cast members were heartbroken. This tragedy highlighted that even the most charismatic people can carry heavy burdens. Mark's impact on Storage Wars is still remembered for his style, charm, and making every auction feel special. 2. Daryl Sheets, the gambler's last bet. Daryl Sheets, known as the Gambler, was one of the original stars of Storage Wars. He became a fan favorite because of his loud voice, sharp instincts, and willingness to take risks. Viewers enjoyed watching him bid large amounts at auctions, often winning or losing thousands of dollars on one bet. Daryl was also known for his positive outlook, believing the next storage locker could be a significant find. In 2019, Daryl surprised fans by sharing his serious heart problems. After feeling severe chest pains while fishing, he went to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed him with congestive heart failure and a severe infection that needed immediate surgery. Although he worked hard to recover, his health did not fully improve. He left the show to focus on his treatment and spend time with his family. Fans felt heartbroken to see the energetic gambler slow down so quickly. In March 2023, news broke that Daryl had passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by loved ones. Fellow cast members paid tribute to him online, remembering his warmth, humor, and encouragement to take risks. Jared Schultz wrote, "Daryl taught me to go for it no matter the odds. He lived life like he bid, fearless." Brandy Passante agreed, saying, "He made every auction more fun just by being there." For many, Daryl's passing marked the end of an era for Storage Wars. He was more than just a buyer. He reminded people that sometimes you must take chances. 3. Barry Weiss, the collector who lived for the hunt. Barry Weiss was different from other cast members on Storage Wars. While others searched for profit, Barry looked for the excitement of the find. He wore unique outfits, drove vintage cars, and had a funny sense of humor. His charm made him popular with fans. Barry often bought storage lockers not to sell items, but to find interesting things. He loved discovering antique photographs, strange folk art, or old jukeboxes with interesting stories. Fans soon knew him as the collector. His knowledge of antiques and quirky personality made him a standout star. Barry never thought of himself as a celebrity. He described himself as just a guy who likes cool stuff. In 2019, Barry suffered a serious motorcycle accident. He broke multiple bones and had internal injuries, spending months recovering. Although he went through tough rehab and made a few appearances afterward, he never returned to Storage Wars regularly. Friends say the accident changed him. He became more private and preferred quiet nights with close friends instead of being in the spotlight. While he stayed in touch with some cast members, he mostly stepped away from the fame he had known. In 2022, the sad news came that Barry had passed away due to health issues from his injuries. His death deeply affected the Storage Wars community. Fans mourned not just because he was loved, but because he lived on his own terms. Fellow star Renee Nazoda said that Barry didn't just collect items, he also collected moments, and we were lucky to share them. Barry's story reminds us that our greatest treasures are often the memories we create. 4. Kenny Crossley, the untimely passing of a beloved auction regular. Dan and Laura Dotson were the well-known auctioneers on Storage Wars, but they had a devoted team working behind the scenes. One key member was Kenny Crossley, a longtime friend and associate of Dan, who sometimes appeared on the show. With his booming laugh and positive energy, Kenny was more than just an employee. He was part of the Storage Wars family. He often acted as a bridge between buyers and auctioneers, helping to ease tense moments and ensure smooth deals. He joined in the bidding on camera and entertained fans with his friendly jokes. Kenny had a talent for making slow auction days fun. In late 2021, tragedy struck when Kenny died unexpectedly from a heart attack at the age of 53. This shocking news affected the Storage Wars community, who remembered him as someone who brightened any room. Dan Dotson shared a heartfelt tribute, saying Kenny was family and that he gave his time, humor, and heart. Dan expressed uncertainty about how they would cope with his absence. Laura also shared her memories, recalling how Kenny often called to check in, not just about work. He cared, she said, emphasizing how rare that is. The Storage Wars community came together to honor Kenny, with cast and crew attending a private memorial service. His passing reminded fans of the many unsung heroes behind the show, the people who kept things running, even if they weren't always in the spotlight. Kenny might not have been the most famous person on Storage Wars, but he was unforgettable to those who knew him. 5. Brandon Sheets, the heartbreaking loss of a protege. Daryl Sheets, known as the Gambler on Storage Wars, also acted as a mentor. He taught younger buyers, including his son, Brandon Sheets, how to take risks and find value in items others might ignore. Brandon appeared on the show in its early seasons and brought fresh energy. He shared his father's sharp eye but had a more cautious approach, often serving as the voice of reason when Daryl wanted to bid heavily on questionable lockers. Fans enjoyed their father-son dynamic, which included camaraderie and bidding conflicts. After leaving the show, Brandon focused on his projects and kept a low profile. However, friends say he faced personal challenges, including financial and health problems. In 2022, the Storage Wars community received tragic news. Brandon passed away at 38. The cause was not publicly revealed, but close friends mentioned ongoing health struggles. Daryl, who had also stepped back from the spotlight due to his health, shared an emotional statement. He wrote, "He was my son, partner, and friend. We shared the good days and the bad. I wish I had more of both." Many fans deeply felt Brandon's loss, as they had watched him grow on the show. Social media includes clips of his funniest moments, biggest wins, and warm exchanges with Daryl. Brandon's passing was not just a tragedy for his family, it reminded everyone how much life had changed for the original cast of Storage Wars. In a show focused on finding hidden treasures, the most valuable aspects were always the people involved. 6. Mike the Hawk Haggard, the tragic early death of a rising star. Not every memorable face on Storage Wars was a regular cast member. One of the familiar faces was Mike the Hawk Haggard, a well-known buyer in the California auction scene. He wore a distinct leather jacket, had a quick wit, and was knowledgeable about military collectibles. Mike sometimes appeared in the background of episodes, often talking with Dan Dotson. He also mentored new buyers, sharing tips and warning them about scams. In early 2020, Mike's health started to decline as he battled advanced lung cancer. He still attended auctions occasionally while undergoing treatment. When Mike passed away in October 2020, the auction community felt the loss deeply. Many cast members attended his memorial. Dan Dotson described him as a genuine person who loved the hunt. His passing reminded everyone that the Storage Wars world is a close-knit community of buyers and sellers. 7. Lindsay Green, the loss of a fan-favorite bidding rival. Lindsay Green joined Storage Wars and quickly became popular for her skill in finding mid-century furniture and vintage clothing. Viewers liked her confidence and quick decisions. Sadly, she died in a car accident in 2021 at the age of 32, which profoundly impacted the Storage Wars community. Cast members and fans shared their tributes, with Brandy Passante calling her a bright spirit. Her memorial showed her kindness, as friends remembered her quiet acts of charity, like donating coats to shelters and mentoring new sellers. Lindsay's death reminded everyone of life's fragility and the real people behind reality TV. 8. Jeff Big Money Morrison, the quiet passing of a behind-the-scenes legend. Every good reality show thrives on rivalries. And Storage Wars was no exception, particularly with Jeff Big Money Morrison. Though not a full-time cast member, Jeff's appearances brought exciting bidding wars, especially against Renee Nazoda. While their on-screen rivalry was intense, off-camera, they respected each other. Jeff was a devoted father and ran a successful antique restoration business, teaching his kids about auctions and negotiating. In mid-2022, he was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer, but continued to attend auctions as he could. Sadly, he passed away in April 2023 at 56. Renee Nazoda honored him with an emotional tribute, acknowledging their friendship amidst the competition. Fans mourned his loss, remembering how his energy made the show thrilling. Jeff's story underscored that Storage Wars was about more than just deals. It was also about the friendships formed along the way. 9. Mark Fields, saying goodbye to a Storage Wars era. The cast of Storage Wars became popular, but the show depended a lot on its behind-the-scenes crew. One key member was sound engineer Mark Fields, who worked on the series since the first season. Viewers usually did not see him, but every cast member appreciated him. He was always there with his microphone, ensuring that every bid, joke, and argument was recorded clearly. Dan Dotson once joked, "If you could hear us clearly on TV, you have Mark to thank for it. If you couldn't, it's because we didn't listen to him." In late 2021, Mark retired from the show due to health issues. Most fans didn't know he had been dealing with a long-term illness. In early 2023, it was reported that Mark passed away peacefully at home. The cast and crew honored him online, with Laura Dotson writing, "Mark was family. He cared about this show as much as we did and treated everyone with kindness and respect." Even though viewers rarely saw his work, Mark significantly impacted Storage Wars. His passing reminded everyone that those who stay behind the scenes also play an essential role in the stories we love. 10. Reflecting on the losses, the end of an era. Storage Wars has changed over the years. Cast changes and losses have affected the show's dynamic. Longtime fans feel the show now lacks the excitement and unpredictability it had in earlier seasons. The passing of cast members like Daryl Sheets, Barry Weiss, and Brandon Sheets has created a significant void, impacting the show's authenticity and heart. In an interview, Brandy Passante shared her feelings, saying, "We've lost friends, we've lost family, and with every goodbye, the show changes a little bit." Storage Wars has always focused more on the people than the treasures. The friendships, rivalries, and memorable moments are what truly mattered. We want to hear from you. Which Storage Wars member stands out in your memory? Share your thoughts and favorite moments in the comments below. If you enjoyed this reflection and want more behind-the-scenes stories, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Ultimately, the real treasures are the ones we keep in our hearts.